You're watching It's Life Live with your hosts, Juan Lee and Oliver Marcel. Come join us for enriching, enlightening, encouraging, and thought-provoking conversation. Let's go.
Hello, hi everybody. Again, this is Juan Lee back with another edition of It's Life. I'm here alone tonight, not with Oliver. He's not with me today, but hope you are having a wonderful evening. Thank you for being with us. If this is your first time being with us, we would thank you for being here and ask you if you would help us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. And if you find something that you like, hit the like button, and also so that you'll know when we launch and we submit a new video. Let me tell you a little bit about Clear Journey. Clear Journey is a nonprofit that supports individuals that are looking for answers to life's challenges. We talk about things like in the areas of finances, relationships, and health and wellness. But we do it with a mindset, a love mindset that allows you to navigate life and all of those challenges with the right mindset so that you can be all that you can be and be successful in every venture in your life. One of those things that we like to do is to tell you how important finances are. And we have a book, an ebook that if you have an interest in it, go to our website. It's Budgeting Made Easy, a guide to taking care of your money. I believe that your money and being able to manage your money is critical in being able to reach your goals in life. So we want you to be able to go over there and take a look. It's there for you over at clearjourney.org, and you can find out more about it. I will put up the email address here, and you can go over there and find that out. We have a lot of other resources over at clearjourney.org, the website, and feel free to go over there and browse through and see what it is that can help you navigate through life's journey. Also, just to tell you a little bit more about what it is Clear Journey is about, it's about a book also that I wrote. I wrote a book. It was called Love Made Simple, The Guide to Inner Peace, Contentment, and Success. And it's also available on Amazon, and it's also Audible, that you can learn about the foundation of that love mindset. And so if you would like to support us and pick up a copy of this, that would really help us in continuing to support us as we help those that are in need of our support. So if anything that we can do, always you can reach us over at clearjourney.org. Tonight, we have a very I tell you, a guest that we've been trying to reach and meet and to gather and to have this conversation for some time, but we are so connected in the things that we do and the desires that we have to affect change and to make a difference in this world. Let me tell you a little bit about her, and then I'm going to bring her right back up so that we can really get started. She's a visionary leader, a teacher, a philanthropist, a dedicated to empowering women and children through education, emotional skills, community support. And after overcoming a life-threatening illness and challenges as a youth, she has spent over 25 years helping others grow and reach their full potential. She's the founder of Competitive Edge EQ and Sisters Inspiration. She teaches leadership, emotional intelligence, life skills, and she helps people and communities succeed. Her work is inspiring, it inspires hope, healing, and lasting change in those that she serves. This is our guest for this evening. If I can get this book down from we can bring her on. Hello, this is Miss Lisa Leonard. Thank you
You
for
there?
being with us tonight. Thank you.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem at all. You gave me, my heart started fluttering as you were talking, because this is not often that I think about the struggle I had as a young person. And so you just brought back to memory, and my heart started beating super fast.
Well, I tell you,
So thank you.
this story is unique in the sense that it's yours
Yeah, yeah,
and you have shared it and you have overcome the
mhm,
challenges of it, that story,
yeah,
and your desire to make others to reach their full potential
sure,
as
sure.
a result of your journey. And I tell you, that is such a thing that resonates with me.
Yeah,
So I can really thank you for being here and willing to share your story with us and all of your accomplishments. I mean, everything that you're doing. I just want to first of all, just let the audience um, get to know you. So if you would tell the audience a little bit more about
sure.
yourself.
Oh gosh, I don't even know where to start. But since you mentioned the story of me being a uh, ill child, I think I probably will start with that, because what I've learned, what's become much more important to me, or that what has bubbled to the top for me at this chapter in my life, is that everything is has become a full circle, and nothing happens by accident. Nothing happens by accident. The question is, are we in tuned enough? Are we aware enough? Are we present enough to pay attention? Right. And so when you were reading or talking about, some of the challenges I had when I was young, everything that happened then um, actually positioned me in today. Right. And so I think about being misdiagnosed, one. I think about having to go to a second hospital and then finding out that I had a ruptured appendix, and zooming through all of that. But actually, just not to get into the details of that, but being in a hospital for a year and then being labeled an at-risk youth, right? And because I was labeled an at-risk youth, whatever that means, I think we all are at risk at some point. But being labeled that back then um, put me inside of a program that was for at-risk youth. But being recommended or forced into that program, I would say, opened the floodgates for me. So it allowed me to, one, be the recipient of mentors, and that's incredibly important, right? So being the recipient of mentors, being the recipient of not just mentors, but adults who loved young people and wanted to see young people succeed, and did not mind giving time, their effort, and sometimes even their money to ensure that um, we had a fighting chance. I'll say that, a fighting chance. I came from a family with both parents, right? But because I was ill, it put me in a category to receive this kind of blessing, because it was a blessing for me. I share this to say that at this point in time in my life, I I realize and I understand, and I'm fully committed to giving my everything to young people. I've always been, but I now understand, and at a greater and a deeper level, what that really means, because someone did it for me. And so someone planted the seed a whole lot of years ago, on a whole,
Come
a
on now,
whole look, a whole lot
this
of years ago.
this is not white that I just put up here. Okay, I didn't put this up here, so I'm familiar with that time
Right.
ago.
So because someone planted the seed back then, it's not by accident that I I have been on this trajectory. It's not by accident. Joe Puhala, which I will say his name because he is still around today. He was one of my mentors then. We still meet periodically now just to do quick check-ins, have lunch and breakfast or whatever, so he'll know how I'm doing. I think, oh man, I'm running a risk of being emotional, but he was a person that changed the course of my life. But then I can also think of Derek Jackson, who started a television and radio program called Pyramid Communications, was for kids, produced radio shows for and by kids. He too was a lover of young people. He believed if we can position young people in certain spaces, they have no choice but to be successful. So because of him too, I was in pursuit of television and radio. What I didn't know, because I thought that I wanted to be on the radio, I thought that I wanted to be on television. But what I did not know was that the seeds were being planted for the work that I currently do. And so I'm a former educator, but once an educator, always an educator. I always arrive for the purpose of teaching in every room that I enter. I didn't know that those two men, Joe Puhala, Derek Jackson, would be the two that planted a seed that would thrust me into a space of loving young people, creating space, time, and opportunity for young people to do the best that they can to thrive, to be exposed to endless opportunities. So essentially what I'm doing is planting the seed. I go around planting seeds.
You are just talking exactly all over the things that I support and the things that I am so in tune with.
Yeah.
And how significant that experience that you are talking about
Sure.
was and is still playing in your life today.
Yes.
And it's because of your willingness to see value and look for help and accept help. You say mentor, and the first thing that happens is help. That's help. That's a connection that, and then you're saying now you're demonstrating how those things play out over a long period of time.
Yes, I am as many people are, but I am certainly a representation of what mentoring can do for young people. And we have to position ourselves. I know we live in a very different world now, but I know what I know. And what I know for certain is that when adults position themselves to pour into young people, then we are cultivating a community of young people who will arise and arrive in a space like myself to reach back and pull forward. And so the only way you know how to do that is if you are the recipient of that. And so we have a responsibility, really, to reach back and pull forward. And the moment that we feel like it's not, that's not valuable, it's not necessary, is the moment that we lose a community of young people. It's the moment we lose generations of people, because we are in this transactional kind of space, which we are now, right? So this work, what you're doing, what I'm doing, is more important now than it's ever been, because everything is transactional, everything. Mm-hmm. So I'll pause there.
Well, no, I mean, because you really support the very fundamentals of the things that we talk about, and the fact is that I, as I wrote in my book, is, there's 4 stages in life. There's teens, young adults, and seniors.
Yes.
And all 4 of them are vitally important to each other. They all have a purpose for each other. And for us, as I'm tipping that scale to be in that senior area, but it's
I'm
about
saying,
investing. It's
yeah,
about investing into the generations that are to come.
yeah,
And that's where we understand purpose,
mhm,
and it gives fulfillment for what it is that we are investing, because we invest out of who we are, what we have.
yes,
And it's to be freely supplied to those that are going to take it to another level.
yes,
And so what you're doing is just you're implementing and you're demonstrating the very nature of what I talk about when I say love, a love mindset. It's the ability to understand your value
yeah,
is really, really essential and important for the
mhm,
next generation. It's to invest.
yeah.
It's to
So
invest.
I can't think of the gentleman's name. Oh gosh, but former Carver. But he says, and I'll look it up while we're talking. But he says, no one, no human, have the right to travel this world without just cause of being in it. That's one of my favorite quotes because why are we here?
Yeah.
Why are you here? Right? And if you don't have a cause for being present, then why are you here? We are here to make an impact. We are here to transform lives. And if you can do that in your sphere, in your universe, if you can connect with people, it doesn't necessarily have to be young people, but my space is, well, now it's young, old, it's everybody.
That's
So
the beauty.
it's your four stage, it's your four stages that you
Yeah.
talked about. Youth, what did you say? Youth,
I
teenage,
said, yeah,
adult,
I said
and
it's
senior.
teens, young adults, adults, and seniors.
So we don't have a right to occupy space without having a reason for being present. And if we approach life from that perspective, then the question is, okay, what am I supposed to do now? How am I supposed to show up now? How can I support now? How can I give the gift that's within me to the person who needs it now? When you're constantly asking that question, then you're living a life that's fulfilled. But when you're constantly asking, how can I get? What can I get? How much money can I make? How can I position myself to take? Then you're empty. You're just an empty vessel because it matters nothing. It doesn't matter.
You just stepping all over my toes, and I like it. And look, and I like it, and I like it. So I can't agree with you more. Like I said, there is the things that you talk about and the way in which you have positioned yourself to do what it is you do.
Yeah.
It only comes, and in my opinion, you are the example of a love mindset,
Yes. That's agape
of
love.
of a love mindset.
Yes.
And that's the message that we at Clear Journey is all about. And that's why your message resonates so clearly and so profoundly with us, is because it's you're demonstrating it,
Yeah.
and the value. See, we all have this.
Yeah.
If only we could understand it and recognize it, that it starts with purpose,
Hmm.
and it then comes through your uniqueness, and then it's about giving it to those who have need of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what life gives you, that full circle that you're referring to, that space that you're referring to. You have, that's what you're that in that space for, is to make a difference.
Yes.
And so hey, this is not about me though. This is about you.
Well, no,
Um,
but this is the rich conversation that I always look for, right? Because even the work that we do now, and the audience is going to say, "Huh?" Well, we just kind of pivot, but we're not pivoting at all because the work that I do, even with Competitive Edge, is this work that we speak of, right?
mhm.
But from an athletic space, from a sports space, from a youth sports space, Um, why is it important? Because again, the work of becoming what you mentioned, purposeful, has driven me to the athletic space. Why is that? Because I was a former athlete. Given all that I shared, right, being a sickly child,
Mm-hmm.
um, getting into these two programs, um, having a passion and a desire to go to a college, but also understanding that my parents could not afford to send all four of us to school, and figuring out a way to still get there, right? It doesn't matter what you want to do, you figure out a way to get there. So my way was through athletics.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to play D1 basketball. I was also able to play softball, but basketball was my thing. Fast forward to having a child. Listen, nothing happens by accident, right? And so fast forward to having a child and being able to travel all over the country and observe young people and parents and referees and coaches like lose their mind on the sidelines and so forth, kind of brought me back to this space. So mentoring, teaching young people, teaching parents, teaching coaches how to develop their emotional skills is the meat, the foundation of the work that I do. But all that we've spoke of, like what is your purpose, is still connected to that, because sport, it was an avenue. It was a one street that I decided to turn down in order to get to a destination. The
Mm-hmm.
destination was a scholarship, a degree, and so forth. But the meat of it is still the same.
Yeah.
What is your
Well,
purpose? How do you live out your purpose? In this instance, basketball, football, rugby, cheerleading, all of those things are great. It is a vehicle. It is not your end all be all. Parents, your child is playing, but it is not their end all be all. And yet we spend 12, 14 years. For us, it was 12 years in the sports space, the youth sports space. And still at the end of the day, I wanted to really focus in, take a step back and widen my lens to focus in what is the thing that's happening here? What's happening in this space? It's a sports space, but what's happening in this space? And it brought us to emotional skills development.
wow.
It brought
Wow.
us to still what is the thing that you cannot get away from. I don't care what you do in this lifetime, you cannot get away from your emotions. You wake up with them, you go to sleep with them.
Mm-hmm.
And for some of us, between feeling the emotion and the choice we make, there's a split second. The choice that we make could derail the rest of our life. So I hope that people understand that while we're talking about purpose, we're talking about loving, having a loving mindset, we're talking about agape love, we're talking about why are you here. The same thing for me in all of this that I embody. I reposition myself in front of parents and in front of young people, in front of teachers, in front of coaches, to say that sport is about this big. That's it, right? But we think it's like this big. And the unfortunate part is that we're always in pursuit of a scholarship, of making it to the NBA or the WNBA or the NBL or wherever. We're always in pursuit of it, that we're not even paying attention to life happening. And so for me at this juncture in my life, it's like, wait a minute, hold on. There's more than being just an athlete. You're more than that. You're more than the parent of an athlete. There's purpose in all of this, but what is the purpose? Because at the end of the day, the sport is changing. What do you do after that? What is your purpose after running up and down the field? Have you repositioned yourself so that when sport is over, because it will be, I'm a walking example of sport comes to an end, what do you do next? Does it leave a sour taste in your mouth? Or do you reposition yourself to think about what is my next purpose? What do I do now that basketball is over? What do I do now that football is over? There are 2 to 3 years in professional football. That's all you got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So not to go down the rabbit hole, but
I mean, before we get into, because I got some questions for you, because I want to give the audience some things.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a tendency to get ahead of myself.
No. But you're in line. But I just, in light of what you've been talking about, I want to ask you: does the Deion Sanders story resonate with you at all?
Oh,
I don't want to get you off on a tangent, but I just wanted to know.
Listen, I wanted to know. I'm gonna tell you this. Deion Sanders' story does not, it resonates from this perspective. One, I think you'll be hard pressed to find a coach that is as passionate, as committed, as transparent, as real as prime time. There are folks out there, but I think you'll be hard pressed to find someone as authentic as prime time. I one of the things that he said in one of his videos, he mentioned, I know all of y'all want to go pro, but all of y'all not going pro. So that's why you need to get in the classroom and do what you're supposed to do, because the percentages are not there. Here's the thing that I want you to think about, and this is aligned with Coach Prime. There are about 70% of youth across the country who play sport. 70%. Only 6% go on to play D1 or D2. Only 6%. So when parents think about it from that perspective, the numbers are very low. So what I can appreciate about Coach Prime is his realness. Mm-hmm. The fact is, all of y'all ain't going pro. Hello, can I just tell y'all, all of y'all not going pro. The idea is to get your degree and think about what it is that you want to do after sport. Do not wait until sport is over to start processing. Well, I think I want to do this. I think I want to do that. I'm not sure. No, don't go pursue what your dream is, but widen the lens a bit so that you can see more than just the football field, more than the basketball court, more than the rugby field, more than the hockey rink. You can see a larger part of the world and start thinking about, what do I want to do thereafter? So I appreciate him. I think he's amazing. I will be fully transparent because I don't mind. I didn't start looking at college football until Deion started coaching.
Hey, I ain't gonna say I was that bad, but the fact is that I ain't gonna say I was that bad, but I was not a college sport. I mean, I'm a local person, so I keep an eye on Maryland's football, they basketball, but they ain't been no good forever. And so it's not been that thing, but it's been amazing the way in which it's difficult for people to see his authenticity because they think that there's something behind it.
Well, but this is the reason. But what you just said is the reason why this work is important.
Well, yeah, because they can't appreciate the authenticity of it. And the thing about it is that it transcends what the norm is. Because everybody's talking about, oh, he's going to the pros, I said, is the only they're not going to be able to buy him to go to the pros.
I really think that his work is more valuable at the collegiate level. When you get into the pros, you get into grown people, right? And I get that sport is changing now. People are billionaires are looking at purchasing college teams. There's a lot of money involved. I would request of people not to follow the money specifically for their child, because there are very few Travis Hunters, right? There are very few Angel Reeses. Those are generational players. And this is why I appreciate his conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he is much more impactful because he can steer the ship a little bit better at the collegiate level. They're still impressionable.
I think he's just perfect for the time.
Look,
no pun intended. He's right. He's prime for the time.
You're right. No,
okay?
No, listen.
And I think he was in front of the push that's coming. And it's interesting. You got the Nick Saban's leaving. You got these, because these people, that time has come and gone. And the things that make prime so in time is the things that cause those coaches to leave. Yeah. Because he's navigating a whole new space now.
Yes,
that is prime for.
Yes, and he has learned how to be relevant in this time. He understands how to connect at this time, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know his team. Maybe he got young folks around him. I am a firm believer that you need to have young folks around you so that you're always keeping a pulse on what is happening. He's been able to navigate this space in the most incredible way. And for folks who have, they're waiting for the other shoe to drop. They're waiting for the other foot to drop, whatever that saying is. Mm-hmm. Listen, I want to say this. He's prime for the time. Mm-hmm. So that is like the title for today, right? He is prime for the time. But also, I want to say this. We're human. And whether if a foot drops, so that doesn't negate anything that he has done up to this point. We're human. So because we're human, things are likely to happen. But we're in a space and time where people have an opinion about everything. Mm-hmm. He's allowed to live. He's allowed to make a mistake. Kids are allowed to make mistakes. The young people who are playing for him are allowed to make a mistake. It's this big hoopla around Travis Hunter and his girlfriend. Mind your business. We were 18, 19 years old before. We 19, 20, 21, 22. Young people make mistakes. That's a part of being a human. That's a part of it.
I think you're absolutely right. Everything that is going, I'm saying his motivation, his intent is the pure thing that people you can't plot that. You can't dismiss that. No. And I think they're missing his intent because they can't, this motivation that he has.
Yes.
It has, you can trip, you can fall, but nothing can stop that motivation. It will demonstrate itself.
Yeah.
And eventually, no matter what the circumstances are.
And he is who he is.
Exactly. And
he shows up the same way every single time. He is who he is. You can't fake that.
No. And that's the point I'm saying. You want to call it marketing? Yeah, but when it's real, it's just called authentic.
Yeah. Now, and you can market authenticity.
And look,
authenticity. People need to know, like, how do you take a program and transform the program in record time? That ain't, listen, I mean, not to be, no, I am going to be spiritual. I was about to say not to be spiritual, but God is who he says he is.
Yeah. And
I'm
don't
gonna
ain't
leave.
not,
I'm gonna leave.
look, and ain't nothing too big for God. I get you.
Hello.
Ain't nothing too big for God.
So I'm gonna leave it right there. When he tells you to do something, the question is, are you in tuned enough? Are you listening? Are you present enough to hear the whisper?
Yeah.
And when you are present inside the physical body, when you're able to hear, when you decide to be quiet and listen, you're going to get direction. And once he gives you the direction, listen, it's nothing nobody could do. So prime is for the time. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it.
Well, that was just, I mean, because again, when you talk about what you do and all, because the emphasis that he puts on it is not about, look, you're not going to be, it's about life.
It's about
It's
life.
about life. It's
Yes.
about preparing men for life.
Yes. And that's what
And
really sport is.
that's,
Sport is
that's,
life in real time.
mhm.
Sport is everything. I wish, and what I often talk about is everything that you learn in sport is transferable.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Absolutely.
Relationships, managing
Absolutely.
relationships, everything that you learn in sport is transferable. Now, are you listening and are you paying attention? And are you being inquisitive? And are you being curious to know or to at least investigate what the transfer is? Everything is transferable.
Absolutely. Look, we're gonna get some tips and things from you that we can share real quick before we end this show because we've had such a great
Have we
time.
been on that? Geez, what
We've
time?
been on almost 40 minutes, but that's okay because it's all inclusive because you
Sure.
can't talk about the things that we talk about because I know when I say it's about life, yes, it's life,
Yes.
but it's how you navigate this thing.
Yes.
And these are the things that we're talking about. Can you give 3 tips for adults and kids as to how they can handle difficult
Ooh.
times? Just give us 3 little quick tips, 3 things that kids and adults can learn to handle their emotions a little bit better.
So I will say, and this is pretty standard, but I think it's always important to learn how to feel the body that you're in, feel the body, the space that you occupy. We wake up with this body every day,
Mm-hmm.
and most of us are robotic. If you pay attention to your day, you get up, you do whatever your morning routine is, you head off to work, you do it all over again. Parents, they do it all over again. Fix breakfast for those who fix breakfast, get the kids out, get in the car, get to work, do everything, put my 8 or 9 hours in at work, come back, fix dinner, make sure they do their homework. We do the same thing every single day, whatever your routine is, but we don't take the time to physically be present with ourselves.
And how are we saying is that emotionally? How do we do that?
Both. So something as simple, I'm going to say specifically to moms. I know dads need this too, but specifically moms, it is perfectly okay to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to breathe. Breath work is incredibly important. If it's box breathing, whatever, just take a deep breath through the course of the day. Deep breaths allow you to recalibrate. 5 minutes of silence allows you to be present in your own body, in your own skin. Not 5 minutes scanning your phone, not 5 minutes responding to a text message. 5 minutes of pure silence. We have to be able to feel our fingers, our toes, our breath. Our breath is autonomic. It happens whether we like it or not, although most of us like it. It is just the thing that happens. But what about taking a moment to feel the breath under your nose that hits your lip on a day-to-day basis? What about putting your hand over your heart just to feel your heartbeat on a day-to-day basis? What about wiggling your toes or getting in the grass and putting your feet in the grass just to feel your body as it is the thing that you occupy? So that's one thing that I think we don't pay much attention to. We don't take the time out to do it unless you're in this space where I'm stretching all of the time. I'm breathing all of the time. I'm feeling my body all of the time. I'm wiggling my toes just to kind of see what's down there. What do my toes feel like at this moment? I do it all the time. But if that's not who you are, if you have 4 kids that you're trying to manage, if you and your husband are trying to make sure that the house is running and you're doing it automatically, you need to take the 5 minutes and then increase the 5 minutes to 10 minutes until you get to 30 minutes. That's your time. Mm-hmm. For young people, it's no different. It's taking time to breathe deeply.
Now, would that be different for times when there are specific challenges, or is that also beneficial in the midst of a challenge?
Oh gosh, it's beneficial in the midst of a challenge.
Okay.
It's beneficial at any time, whether it is in the midst of a challenge, whether it's on the court, deep breath, whether it's missing a layup and you're all in your feelings because you done missed the layup, deep breath. That is only a second. It is only a layup. Whether you're in a classroom and you're getting ready to take a test, deep breath. It doesn't matter the time. Breaths have the propensity to change even your physical being. Mm-hmm. It has the propensity, the power to change your physical being. So taking a deep breath anytime you can through the course of the day is important.
Is there a recommended amount of times that you maybe just need to just Selah for a minute and just take that deep breath a day, would you say?
So I would say this. If you're not used to, and I love the fact that you said Selah. If you're not used to doing it, grace yourself 5 minutes. Just grace yourself 5 minutes. And build up to the time. Some people, I like to meditate, but I will be perfectly transparent. When I first started meditating, it felt like my brain was a movie reel. I just could not focus because everything that I needed to do, everything that I wanted to do, everything that I had planned for the day, everything that went wrong in my day, everything was playing out as I was sitting in meditation. But what I've learned to do now, and this is after a lot of practice, but what I've learned to do now is when those things show up in meditation, just say hello to it and recenter myself. Because that's not going to go anywhere. What you have to do after meditation is still going to be there once you finish meditation. If you had an argument the night before with your significant other and you have not reconciled that argument, it's still going to be there once you finish meditating. So in this quiet space, once something pops in that takes me away from my silence, I just say hello to it and I recenter myself. And I say hello to it and I recenter myself. But that requires practice.
Would you consider that like a sign of reset, like hitting the reset button to get your point to it? Just that hey, let me reset. And even if that does happen in that process of that reset, it gives you that opportunity to say, okay, I'm going to begin to now focus on something other than for this moment. And if it means that I have to do it 3 or 4 times in the process of getting that moment, then that's okay. But it's like, hey, because what I'm learning, and I think this is it's very significant for what you're saying here, is that it allows your body to begin to possess different types of chemicals that in turn allows you to reset your body emotions. That all those chemicals are setting the dopamines and those things that are in you in a manner in which you can begin to see things come down and balance out.
Yes. Reset. I love the term reset because it does allow you to reset. A part of the work that we do is around emotional granularity, right? So how do we speak of our emotions? What do we call it? What's the salience in our emotions? What's the variation in our emotions? How strong is it? How weak is it? A part of resetting allows you to also recalibrate,
Mhm.
right? And so I think that's important. As you do the work, you start to understand a little bit more how emotions resonate in your own body, how it shows up in your body.
Mhm.
I think that's really important work. And so, yeah, resetting is essential. I
Yeah.
would definitely say that's essentially what it
That,
is.
yeah, I mean, because that resonated with me and how you was talking
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
Um, the other thing is how can you help someone mentally with that feels is sad themselves, if they're sad themselves, or someone that is struggling emotionally? You have a tip or something that is this again another one of those things that you can just take that minute, because emotional can have a big span of things when depression and everything else falls in there.
Yes, so I'm going to be very careful about responding to this
Hmm.
for a couple of reasons. I am an emotional development coach, right? And so what I do is build skill to develop your emotions. So to develop your ability to cope with your emotions. When you get into another space, then you need a psychologist, right?
Okay.
So, one, learning how to shift your emotional disposition is what I do. Learning how to build your emotional granularity is the work that I do. We work to build the skill because it is a muscle. It
Hmm.
is a muscle that if you continue to work at it, it gets stronger. So those moments where you feel overwhelmed, you have a toolkit to pull from. Those
Exactly.
moments where you may be in a mental crisis, you still have a toolkit to pull from. So for us, emotional development helps to mitigate mental challenges.
Got you.
And that's why it's important for us. If we can continue to build young people's and build their emotional toolkit, then they understand, well, when I'm angry, what do I do now? When I am disappointed, what do I do now? When I am fearful, what do I do now? They have a toolkit to pull from. So I always want to make the distinction specifically on a public forum that, the space that we're in is coaching. Then
Hmm.
there is the psychology work that you absolutely, when you start talking about cognitive, you talked about, oh my gosh, I just missed it. But when you start talking about endorphins and all of that, I try to leave that space to, I have conversation about it, but I try to leave that space to psychologists to do their work the way that they're supposed to do their work.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. It's just those one of the things in the health flare, in the health place, in the health
Yeah.
space, is
Yeah.
that they're more inclined to nutrition and how nutritions and things, how those things work in those areas. And I've been on a big journey,
Yeah.
health wise, and I've
Yes.
learned how the mind, the body, and the spirit are all come together. And so I can there's very conversations connect for
Yes.
me. And
Yes.
so it's very easy for me to say, okay, how do we get through this? And I like the way you said that, though, because if you have the right tools to mitigate those things
Yes.
beforehand, then that's where your space is, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, what advice would you give kids who are feeling stuck because of their situation?
Ooh, being stuck. I don't know if that's just kids though, Juan.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. What do you got? What do you help? Because that's my space, to be honest with you.
So,
What are your suggestions?
but I was one of the things for young people. This. I'm going to speak specifically to young people because they have a hard time doing this. What I'm about to say. When you find yourself stuck, it is incredibly important to find a person that you trust that will hold space for you a safe space to be with a non-judgmental space to be able to speak what it is that you're feeling. That's important for all of us. Young people specifically, though, have a tendency to think adults don't understand. Adults haven't been there before, as if we just dropped off to the face of the earth and kind of became adults. But they have to be okay with finding a safe space to communicate. Oftentimes it's with their peers, but their peers are going through the same thing. I'm not saying don't talk to your peers. I am saying there are mentors. There are teachers. I was the auntie in school. So I was the favorite teacher because I held space for young people to come and talk to me.
What do you suggest for parents with children? How do they recognize that a child is stuck in that regard, so that they can feel that the child feel that comfort to be able to come to them? Because what you don't want the parent to do is to feel, well, here's the thing that we're going through, parents being the child's friend, their best friend, instead of being that confidant, that person that can really be there for them when they're stuck. What do you say to the parents to be able to help them navigate that space? And I know this is a trick question, because go ahead. I know this is a trick question.
It's not a trick question at all.
Well,
I don't feel that way now. People may receive what I say as a trick, because some of us are stuck in our parenting style. And I'm glad that you asked this question specifically, because I do a series on parenting through the EQ lens, right? That series is important because what I do in it's a 4-part series. I work with parents in person to unpack the lens of which they parent through. You have to pay attention or learn, not have to. It is important, it is incumbent upon parents to learn the lens through which they parent. And sometimes we approach this by this blanket statement that I am a parent, and so because I'm a parent, you do as I say, not as I do. But where did that come from? Where did that lens come from? One of the things that I'll tell you a funny story, because I know we're running over time, but I'll tell you a funny story. One of the things that I incorporated, my husband and I incorporated with our daughter, who is now 22. When she was much younger, and I would recommend this to any parent, and I teach this also in my parenting workshops, what we call the sacred circle. You can call it whatever you want to call it. You can call it Lee's circle. You can call it Juan's circle. You can call it the mindset circle. You can call it the Johnson's family circle, whatever you want to call it. The premise behind the sacred circle for us, though, is that our child has the opportunity to show up in the circle and communicate however she feels, however she wants, absent judgment, absent your response, absent anything that you may want to say to rebut what he or she is saying. This is a sacred circle for her to feel free. And whatever is shared in the circle does not show up later on. If you can position yourself this way, you will find that your children will share much more than you ever thought they would share. I'll give you a short story, because I was raised differently than how I raised our daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so my daughter was upset. She came downstairs and she was crying. My mother was in the family room. My husband was sitting to my left. My mother was sitting to my right. And so B comes downstairs. She's upset. And I said, sacred circle activated. And she went on and on and on. And she said, F this, F da 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 da. I can't believe it. She's crying profusely. So when she said the F word, you know what my mama did?
Oh, wow.
My mama said,
Yeah.
"Oh, wait a minute. There's another way that you can communicate it." My mother went on and on. I said, "Hold it. Mom, this is not your time. This is not your time." So respectfully, if you feel like you can't hear this, then I need for you to remove yourself from the room. My mother was hot, Juan. Dude, when I tell you, my mother is old school North Carolina. Listen, you don't curse in front of your elders.
Look, I
But
can feel the heat up behind out come out my collar.
Juan, but let me tell you, so what my mother witnessed though, she removed herself. She went into the morning room and she listened to us talk. And I told my daughter, I said, Sacred Circle activated, and she was here until and my husband and I just sat there and listened. And then by the time she finished talking, she had made her way back down. And when she got further down and calm, I said, "Okay, so now what do you want to do?" And we talked through it. She was able to express how she felt. Now she does it differently because she's 22. And she's like, "Mommy, listen, I just need to talk real quick." And I know activated, the Sacred Circle is activated. She say everything she got to say. And I say, "Hey, am I a sounding board or do you want some advice? What do you want? What role am I playing now?" That's because she's 22. So there's a release of power that parents also have to recognize.
Mhm.
At some point in time, you have to start releasing the child to make some decisions. So the Sacred Circle for me is incredibly important for every parent. It doesn't matter at what phase you are. It's great if you start young, because we started really young. And so this is a part of our culture in our family, that she talks to us about everything, anything. Some things I'm like, do you have, but we created that space for her to feel comfortable, to feel safe, to feel acknowledged, to feel valued. We validated her voice from yay high to present. And a part of being able to do that is to know a part of being able to do it is to understand that sometimes you have to reevaluate how you parent. What lens am I parenting my children, my child through? Am I preventing them? Am I muting their voice? What does it mean when you say you're to be seen, not heard? What does that really mean? What does that mean to me as a child? My voice doesn't matter.
Yep. Those are the
So
things. Mhm.
long and short, because that's a whole nother story, but I mean, a whole nother show. But parents, I think it's important. One thing that they can quickly do, starting today, starting right now, is activate a Sacred Circle. You put the rules, you guys collectively say, this is what we're doing. This is our Sacred Circle. It is not a family meeting. It is not a family meeting. It is not a space when the child is in trouble or you are disappointed or you did something. You have to grow to that. It is a sacred space. So sacred means that here I can come. I can feel safe, secured, valued, seen. There's no judgment. And I can talk to my parents without any recourse after this. As a parent, you will learn so much about your child. And that is data. It's data for you to reposition yourself as a parent. But if you are parenting from a lens of top down, I am the parent and what I say goes, then you're missing a lot.
Yeah. And I will even echo the fact that that concept works in all relationships.
All
All relationships, because that is what you've just established there is a communicative tool
yes.
that is relevant, knowing the position that you hold in the communicative process that you're engaged in.
Yes, but
And
that's why it's important to start. That's why we do emotional work early,
Mhm.
because you have the opportunity to impact young people as they get older. They're learning how to communicate. They're learning how to actively listen. They're learning how to be inquisitive and curious and ask the appropriate questions. They know that their voice matters. They don't have to approach situations angrily. They can problem solve in the midst of, once they've learned how to bring their emotions down and settle them, they learn how to problem solve. This is early work.
Absolutely. It's a work no matter what stage of life you're at.
Yes,
So, I
yes,
mean, if you don't know it, you need to know it. And as
yes,
soon as you can, to begin to have the benefits that you look for in the relationships that you
that you,
want to
yes,
have,
that you
and
desire.
that you do really desire. And you
Yeah.
really understand that good relationships don't happen by mistake.
No,
They don't happen by mistake.
no, but if you can build these skills all along the way, that's why we started the parenting workshops, because it is not a top down. It is not Lisa knows everything and I'm teaching you it is a reflective practice that allows parents to walk away with tools that they need in order to help their families, to help their children, to help their own relationships, to show up differently for their children, to show up differently for their partners, to even show up differently in the workspace.
For themselves, to
For
be honest
themselves.
with you, for
Yes,
themselves, because when you operating out of that kind of understanding, wisdom, as we
yes,
might want to say,
yeah,
it really shows who you are as an individual, as being able to adapt and be able to understand others' perspectives
yes.
and not only your own.
Yeah. And so when we think about the emotional space, we're talking about self-awareness, we're talking about relationship management, we're talking about all of these things. When you build those skills, relationship management is different. Is different. Your
Yeah.
level of awareness, self-awareness, is not just you being aware of how people show up. Is you being aware of how people show up, is you being aware that they have a story. That's why they're showing up that way. Is you being aware of your own emotions and your own triggers and how your emotions are showing up because of how that person is showing up. There are levels to it. And so that's why I say that, I know we're at that 1 hour mark, but
Yeah.
that's why this work is incredibly important, because you don't get away from it. This is the journey, right? This is the clear journey. It's
I.e.,
life. It's
I,
life.
i.e., the clear journeys while we doing this, the way it's laid out
Yes,
is so
it's
that
life.
it's life, and we're trying to make it a clear journey for you.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It has been amazing. Is there anything that you'd like to share? I know you have some things that you're doing. Is there something that you want to share before we let you go?
So because we have not, I like to do this. One, um, I should share that our, what do you call it? Uh, Platform or gateway for um, recommending anyone for the awards that we do each year. So we have. Let me give a background, just short background. Competitive Edge has a Community Legacy Award. It is named in the honor of James Brown, the James Brown sportscaster. So
Okay.
the James Brown Spirit of Service Award, Coach Rich, who is from the Maryland area, Prince George's County area, the Coach Rich Community Impact Award, Diane Richardson Community Impact Award. That portal is open for folks, if you know amazing people who are doing amazing things, much like you and I, and you want to recommend them for that award. It's normally held in May. This year is May the 1st. And so if people want to recommend someone for that award, they can go onto our website to recommend. That's one thing that I want to share. The second thing that I want to share, obviously, is certainly, please, 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 the only one thing that you can do that doesn't cost anything is to follow us on Instagram. So it's just as our the name of our organization at Competitive Edge EQ. You can inbox me there. That's the easiest way to get me, right away. You can inbox me there to find out more about our programming. We work with student athletes, we work with coaches, we work with parents. I do workshops often. And so if you're interested in parenting through an EQ lens, certainly inbox me there on our Instagram. And I will get back with you. Obviously, I know I enjoy having volunteers. I enjoy people just jumping in to do the work that we do. And so just find me. Let's talk. Let's have coffee. Let's connect.
Hey, don't worry about it. You already I already know where you are. Hey, I will have all of that information. You're going to provide that for us, and we'll put it in the show notes. So if anybody's looking for that information, you can always, if nothing else, you can reach out to me and I'll give it to you, have it for you.
Sure.
But I can't thank you enough, Elisa. I mean, this has been magnificent. I thank you for what you've done tonight for me. So I appreciate it. And I know what you have shared with the audience can be of value to them also. So
yes.
I
Thank you for having me.
really want to thank you. And don't go too far. I'm going to close up the show and we're going to be and I'll talk to you. Don't go anywhere, though. All right.
Okay. Sure thing.
All righty. Thank you again for being with us.
Not a problem.
Well, everybody, we have had a blast tonight. That has just been a magnificent show. I want to thank Lisa again for being with us. And I hope you were able to take something away from this. She had so much excitement and enthusiasm about making a difference in your community. And so you can make a difference in your community, no matter what community that might be, with the right attitude, with the right mindset. That's what this is all about. So again, if you want to reach me, I'm at clearjourney.org. You can go over to Clear Journey to find out more about what we do. But like I said, if you want to find out more about her, the notes, you will see her information in the show notes, or again, you can reach out to us and we will get that information to you also. But in closing, as usual, we can't change life, but we want to help you navigate a little bit better. So until next time, we'll see you then.